I grew up in a Christian home. My parents loved God, and I followed their example of what a relationship with God looked like. And for them, it was very ritualistic. We went to church several times a week. We prayed at a certain time every day before our meals, and before we'd go traveling somewhere in the car, we'd pray for safety. And we also read the Bible together. But it was kind of a list of things that had to be done. Okay, we've prayed today, check that off. We've read our Bible today, check that off. We went to church 3 times this week, we checked that off. We did some serving in our church, let's check that off. And to me, that was having a relationship with God. That was believing in God. And so in doing those very ritualistic things, even though they weren't bad things, there was a disconnect between me and the heart of God. And so I went through high school and college just being a very good kid, because to me, being a Christian meant you were just a good person. And so I went through life just kind of doing those things that my parents told me to do in order to be a good Christian. My relationship with God was based on what my parents believed, and that was okay with me. And then I got through college and I started to get into the real world, and my parents weren't making my choices for me anymore. And so I made a couple poor decisions that really brought me to the bottom point, brought me to my breaking point. And I was so lonely and in such a dark place and felt so alone. And so I began to cry out to a God that I knew was there, but I didn't really know what it looked like to feel his presence. And he, in all of his good grace, met me where I was at, and his presence came upon me like I've never felt. It was definitely a feeling. His presence just surrounded me, and he met me where I was at when I was crying and lonely, and just I began to cry out to him to save me from my poor decisions and my poor choices. In his grace, he walked alongside of me. He never left me, and he began to show me that if I would search him through his word, if I would search him through prayer, that he would always be with me and he would never leave me. And that's really where my relationship with God started, and where I began to realize that it's not about a list of duties. God loves us to serve others. He loves us to serve in our church. He loves us to pray and read our Bible, but he wants us to do that. He wants to change our heart so that it's not just about reading a verse in our Bible and calling it good. He wants us to desire to grow deeper in his word and get to know him better, and to have a relationship with God is to know his heart. Now my heart breaks for what breaks his heart. And in our church, we live by a mission that we love God, love people, and live out. And everything that I do, as I begin to grow my relationship with Christ, and I begin to see what it is that he sees, my love for him grows stronger, and then I begin to love the people that he loves, and I begin to want to serve and be his hands and feet to others around me, because I want to do his will and his purpose for my life and what he has called me to. And I am in such, and the only way I can describe it is I am so in love with God. I am in the most intense love affair that I have ever been in, and I cannot get enough of him. I want to start my day with him. I want to end my day with him. I want to spend every waking moment that I can with him. I have come to a point where I give up other things. I don't watch TV, or I make a really quick dinner because I just want to spend more time with him. And all of those things, the menial tasks in life, aren't as important anymore, because I want to do what he's called me to, and I believe that I'm here for a specific purpose, and I want to continually grow my relationship with him so that I can discover that purpose and I can live it out and I can please him, because he is so perfect and I am so imperfect. And there are so many times I am far from perfect, and I call on his grace daily, and I am so thankful for the sacrifice that he has made, because I mess up all the time. I mess up all the time. But he is so good to me, and he meets me where I am, whether that's down in the pits or if I'm having a good day. It doesn't matter. He wants to walk alongside of me, and he wants to show me his will for my life and his best for my life. And I've come to a place where no matter how many times I mess up, I know that God's will, that God's best for me is where I want to be. And so there are so many times when I want to be pulled by the things of this world, or I want to make my own choices because I think I know better than God. And I've continually learned over and over again, and through his grace, when I've made a choice that is not his will, he just so graciously and so lovingly reminds me that his plan is perfect, and draws me back to him in a way that only an all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving God can.